Hello everyone, welcome back to MixBuzz TV, mixing and mastering tutorials on YouTube. Today I want to introduce you to HOFA IQ-COMP. HOFA is a German company that lately came out with a bunch of cool new products, and this compressor quickly became one of my favorite, and I want to show you what sets apart this compressor from the rest and what are some of the cool features that it brings. So a quick walkthrough of the controls. On the top panel, we have the input with the trim and metering, output with makeup gain and metering too. Then we have the mix for parallel compression. And then we have an internal clipping algorithm. And with this one, you can tell the compressor when start to apply the internal clipping. Okay, so this is a soft clipper, it's not like hard clipping digital. It sounds pretty good actually, and you can disable it, of course. I'm not really a fan of having the input and output up here, but it's not a big deal once you're used to the GUI, which is resizable, as you can see. Then we have the setting panel. I'm showing you this because some feature need to be set before, like the clipping link and the clipping location if you want to clip just the wet signal or mix dry wet signal. And then the oversampling. You have two oversampling, the online oversampling for where you use it as a regular insert in the project, and the offline oversampling when you use the audio suite version of the plugin. Auto clears for peak hold and max gain reduction, and tooltips. So make sure you set up the compressor before using it. Then you have down here two modes, the COM and the rough. And you have the regular controls, threshold, attack, ratio, and release. Okay, but this is the first feature that is cool about this compressor. You can go in details and tweak the attack and release and ratio as you want, or you can go auto mode. And in auto mode, the compressor automatically adjusts those settings for you. And while I don't like usually automatic stuff, because I'm a control freak and I like to have control of everything, this sounds pretty good. Okay, so let's hear this compressor on drums in automatic mode, and let's compare the two modes, the COM and the rough. This is COM. Okay. It's not night and day. Okay, it's not night and day, but is apparent, is a little more aggressive, the rough mode, than the COM. If we go in manual mode, is a little more apparent. Let's compensate. Okay, this is pretty obvious. You hear the room a lot. All the tails are coming out. COM is a little more relaxed. And it's pretty nice sounding already, even though I'm compressing a lot. It's just to show you the difference. I'm not trying to make it sound good. So if you want to set something fast, you go auto mode. If you need to tweak the controls a little more, you go in detail. Then we have the sidechain control, and this works like any other sidechain compressor. You can go internal or external. If you go external, of course, you set up a bus up here, like all the other plugins in Pro Tools. And if you go internal, you have the possibility to change the filter type, high pass, low pass, high shelf, bell, and DQ, of course, and the frequency. Okay? And you have two actually filters. So you can do a band pass, for example, which is very useful when you want to isolate an element, let's say in a full mix or in a drum bus like this, to trigger the compressor. Okay? But what I really like about this compressor is the flavor module, okay? Now, this has two modes, the Go mode and the Expert mode. In Go mode, it has 6 different presets, let's say. And what this module does is applies the compression differently in the frequency spectrum. The result is some sort of dynamic EQ. Okay, it actually changes the tone of the material while compressing, but it's not EQ. Okay, let me show you. And of course, you have the amount slider, and you can decide how much of that preset frequency response you have. So if you look at the graphic, you see the EQ line. Let's go drums. Listen how it changes the sound. Warm is very nice to tame harshness on vocals especially. Boom. Punch. And air. Let's hear it without. Okay? It's pretty cool. Okay? It's pretty cool. So don't mistake this for static EQ. As you can see, it's a curve of gain reduction. So the gain reduction is applied less on some parts of the frequency spectrum. In this case, for big, you have the highs and lows, as you can see, which are less compressed than this range here in the middle. Okay, tonally it changes a lot. Here is compressing the highs less. Here's compressing the lows less and the highs more. And like I said, you can decide the amount, which is a very, very cool feature. The compressor itself, even without the flavor module, it sounds really good to me. It's very grabby, okay? It does have a specific action that you actually recognize pretty quickly. But with the flavor, you can really change the tone of the compressor quick and easy. And actually, I've been experimenting on putting this compressor on buses, like my stem outs. And with a little tweak, you can really change the tone of an element very, very easily. And if you want, you can go expert and you can technically draw your own EQ curve. Let's see. Want to release some of the lows, or you can use a bell. Can compress more a region that needs to be tamed more than another. You can go crazy like this. See? You can do some crazy EQ curves. Okay. It's very nice. I mean, you will need some time to tweak it if you go expert. But like I said, the cool thing about this compressor is if you want to go easy, you just go for this 6 presets and in auto mode, and is very, very fast to set up and make it sound good. Let's try it on bass, for example. resizable GUI. And I'm not using oversampling right now, but it sounds better. It sounds better with oversampling. Just keep in mind that when you use oversampling, sometimes some plugins tend to tame and soften transients. So keep that in mind when you set the oversampling up here. Let's hear it on bass. Let's go auto mode. Rough. Let's take the flavor out for now. Okay, let's say I want to go expert. I want to release some of the compressor in the low end. And I want to compress a little more where I have the strings. See? It's pretty cool. It's just a couple of moves, and it sounds very natural. I find it easier than to set up a multi-band compressor, and you have less artifact than a multi-band compressor because there's no crossover filters, okay? He's not dividing the signal coming in like a multi-band compressor. It's just applying a different ratio, a different gain reduction, if you want, on different parts of the frequency spectrum, and that is pretty cool. Let's make it a little less apparent. And let's see how the clipping sounds, which should be kind of cool on bass. Let's turn the volume up a bit till it breaks. You start hearing breaking up. On bass, it's pretty nice. It's not a very obvious clipping like distortion. It's very nice saturation. And I'm going overboard with this. And you can do parallel compression. So you can squash the crap out of something. And then go parallel. Okay. It's pretty cool. Very, very versatile. I do like this compressor very much. And another thing that it could sound silly, I do like the color scheme too. And when you have to stare at a plugin for quite some time, I find that also being a factor. Let's try it on vocals because, like I said, I like the warm mode on vocals.
That I see what I believe.
Not that this vocal
but
has
always let
any
me
problem,
down
but just to show you the function.
And the more that I expected of you, the more our distance grew. And in the end, you're never there. And I know you couldn't tell the truth to save your soul.
It's pretty nice.
And I know you will lead to my demise, but I just ignore all the signs, and I'm not gonna
See the curve?
wait for another heartbreak.
Okay. It's very nice, especially on female vocals. I like this preset, this warm preset.
That I see what I believe. But you always let me down in the end. And the more that I expected of you, the more
How big
our
it makes.
distance grew.
Let's try the big one.
And in the end, you're never there.
See how it changes the tone.
I know you couldn't tell the truth to save your soul.
They all sound
And
very nice.
I know you will lead to my demise, but I just ignore all the signs, and I'm not gonna wait for another heartbreak.
So it's very, very cool, very nice sounding, and you can go flat as you saw before. You just take out this flavor module and it works like a wideband compressor. And of course, if you want to exaggerate the settings, like I said before,
I see what I believe. But you always let me down in the end. And the more that I expected of you, the more our distance grew. And in the end, you're never there.
and go parallel.
And I know you couldn't tell the truth to save your soul.
And with the flavor
And
all the way up
I
and parallel, it's very cool.
You will lead to my demise, but I just ignore all the signs.
You can change the tone of the element, the energy of the element, while keeping some of its character. Okay, it's very, very cool. So HOFA IQ-COMP, check it out. If you go to the HOFA site, you will find at least 3 free, completely free plugins that you can download and use. They have all formats, VST, RTAS, and AAX. So check their site out. So if you get a chance, get a demo and try it. It is a pretty cool compressor. This is it for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.